I do, in the interest of time, want to transition to the role.
Come on.
Religion and God and
Oh, yeah.
the reason
For
you're
sure.
in Dallas has played in you, and
For sure.
and the Freedom Center,
Yep.
and what made you buy it, and what
Yeah.
your plans are with that. Because I find it. I sent you a text a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I find it very inspiring.
Yeah.
That someone, you said that the guy in prison told you the third thing, something
Give value
about
to people.
give value to people,
Yep.
and I see you doing that.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be rude, kind
Come
of
on,
without
man.
a real plan.
Come on.
But
Yeah.
you got a vision.
Yeah.
Not
Facts.
really a plan. Like, would
Facts.
you talk about like the
Oh,
role?
yeah.
Oh, by the way, and you had a sermon on Instagram the other day. And I was like, I love it, man. Like, so why don't you talk about God, the role that and what you're doing with the Freedom Center?
Man, I just know that I wouldn't be. So I've been shot 3 times, 2 in my leg, 1 across my hip. I just been through a lot, man. You know, the streets, like the concrete jungle is different. And I knew that for me to go from there, doing 10 years, getting found not guilty, you know, still being in the street, to becoming this person, wealthy, successful, all of that good stuff, that ain't me. If it was me, I tried to mess it up a lot of times on purpose. That's God. No matter what nobody believes in, it's just me. That is God. And so I am not perfect by far, but I do my best to give him all the glory. And I tell God, you know, you've blessed me with such an amazing life, such an amazing platform, most importantly, influence. And I don't want that influence to be me. I want the influence to be you. Right? And so I keep God at the forefront, and I'm here in Dallas to go to church. I come out here once a month just to feed my spirit, man. Because being a successful man, with the access to wealth that I have, life can be so full of temptation. We are walking flesh, and the more you feed it, the more it wants. And so every day I try my best to starve it and feed my spirit. And so that has been the root. That has been the catalyst for this part of my life. And then with the Freedom Center, I purchased that. And you're right, Tim. I had a vision, but not a plan. And the goal was to create a media company, which I had already been doing, but that can give more highlight to the African American exposure to wealth. So when we look at shows like, when I grew up, we had shows like A Different World. We had shows that highlighted Black parenthood not always being like drug addicts, not always being criminals.
Yeah.
And I felt like, we don't have that no more, right? And so because representation and imagery is everything, the media controls everything. And if we have nothing to look at that represents us, then we have nothing to look forward to.
Right.
And so my goal is to be a voice, because people see me on my show and they relate to it. And I don't hide from what I've been through, but I highlight where I'm going. And I want to create things and shows that represent that we all can make it. Because what happens is, when you come from where I come from, you start to just have this bad taste in your mouth about white people in America.
Yeah.
And if you don't get shown otherwise, you'll die with that. People like you, people like John, like people in Ballroom, like, I'll rock with y'all, right? And so I told Eddie this when we was in wherever we was at last. I'm having a brain for San Diego. And I said, man, you know, Ballroom is phenomenal, not just because of the information. It changed my entire perspective on white men in America. Because now I get to be around white men in America that are really accomplishing some dope stuff. And at one point in my life, I felt like it was just their game. And they wouldn't give me information. And so I used to go in certain rooms with this chip on my shoulder, like, man, I got to show them I know how to do this and show them how I know how to do that. But like you said, my first time in Ballroom, I was just like, oh, shit. Because they didn't care. It was, here's the information, here's how I help, and if you can add value, that's cool to me too.
Yeah.
And so that was such a like epiphany for me. And then again, bro, just to hear you talk, to hear John talk, it's mind blowing because it doesn't lose me.
Gafford?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking yesterday.
Yeah,
He said you were about to be on his show.
Yeah, it doesn't lose me. I'm such an information person. I can hear y'all, and immediately my mind starts to, okay, how can I add this? How can I decipher this? And so I'm getting chills right now, man. And so that's what it is. And so I appreciate growing friendships with people like y'all, because now it shows people that come where I come from, we don't have to keep ourselves in this little corner.
Yeah.
There's a whole world of people that really want to work with you, that really want to do business with you, that really don't mind building a friendship with you, but you got to let go of some of the trauma that you've been through. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So how do you let go of that trauma? Because like I've known people in my history that came from the street, came from the hood, came from similar walks of life, that were able to grow, were able to get successful, but they had that albatross in their head, and they weren't able to. They're still stuck there. So it's almost like even though they've achieved physical freedoms, mentally they're still in prison.
It's a journey, man. It's a journey. You have to. So one, therapy is something I go through too, and I talk to my therapist about it. But it's
me too.
Yeah, man. But it's also one of the things the streets has taught me was I can feel a person's presence. Right, I can be around a person and tell if they on some BS, and I can tell if they just got good energy and want to see me grow and so that's what I gravitate to. So before, it's sitting in a room full of white males, and initially it's who trying to get over on me. Right, I'm a young black man, I got a whole ton of money. Who trying to get in my pocket? Right, so now I'm defensive about everything. But if I go in a room and I'm like, okay, how can I help people in this room? It changes my energy. Feel me? How can I add value to this room? Because it takes me off the defensive and it makes me play offense. And now when I'm playing offense, I'm genuinely just trying to give information in the room, but then I also see people genuinely returning the same energy.
Well, coming on the energy conversation, it's like if you had never brought up your history, hey, prison, shot, this, that, the other. Yeah. You know, I think I see on Instagram you're all tatted up.
Yeah.
Now you're not. But you come to this like with just a fun, smiling, you're having a good time. Yeah. I would never in 1,000 years ever go, that guy?
Yeah.
That guy has all that trauma?
Yeah.
I would be like, oh, he's middle America, upper America.
Hey, I hope you liked today's episode. Subscribe to get alerts when there's new episodes.